Thanks for tuning in live, Proline TV, the Our Lads Football Network. We're going to talk some Iowa Hawkeyes football. Matter of fact, we got a big rivalry game coming up on Saturday, noon Eastern, between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa State Cyclones. So no better time to talk to Tom Kakert, who is the publisher of HawkeyeReport.com. And he's the one I turn to whenever I want to find out what's going on with Iowa. How's it going, Tom?
It's good to be back on with you, Greg.
Yes, it's nice to have you on again, Tom. This is about our yearly opportunity to catch up on what's going on with Iowa Hawkeyes football. And it's just, watching the team again and just seeing, I know it's only first week and I'm hearing these things before the first game about, I don't know, just conflicting stories about the offense again. And it's like, is this going to happen again with Iowa's offense where you just have no idea if they're going to be productive at all and it's just going to be the defense? And man, then you see the first game and it's like, well, I'm not sure. I was very impressed with the offense against Albany. So what's going on with Iowa's offense again? I know they got a nice new quarterback.
Yeah, it's if you would have told me a week ago at this time, I would have told you, and in fact, I did. I said this to people. I wrote it. I did radio shows, and I was like, people had asked me, like, what's going to be the storyline that comes out of week one for Iowa? And I said, Gronowski is going to be really good, and you're going to have a sense of relief about the quarterback position. The exact opposite happened.
Why did you say that? What made you believe that?
I just thought he would settle down, and you can say what you will about him. He won the Heisman Trophy for the FCS level, the Walter Payton Award. Threw for 10,000 yards, 93 touchdowns. I mean, yeah, it's a different level of football, but it's still football.
Sure.
And we've seen a lot of really good quarterbacks come out of that level of football.
Well, Trey Lance was top 5 draft pick.
Yeah, Trey Lance, Joe Flacco. We've seen guys come up, over the years, and I just thought, yeah, this guy's going to be solid, and plus he can run a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, for lack of a better term, I think he just had a case of the yips on Saturday and just struggled. Couldn't complete passes early. Seemed tight. Seemed just tightly wound. He did loosen up a little bit in the third quarter, but it was interesting because the second quarter, Albany scores and takes a 7-3 lead, and it felt like Kirk Ferentz came out of that possession and said, okay, guys, we're just going to run the ball, and we're going to get out of here with a win, and don't throw any more passes. And he ends up with, Gronowski ends up with 44 yards passing, and we're back where we, always seem to be with Iowa football, which is they don't have a passing game at this point. You don't know if they're going to have one this year. It's incredible. I mean, because I dig up stats for a living and weird things that happen with Iowa football. They haven't had an individual throw for 2,000 yards since 2019. That was Nate Stanley. They haven't had a wide receiver catch over 500 yards in passes in a season since 2019. And that was Amir Smith-Marset and Tyrone Tracy, who's now a running back for the Giants. Those were the two guys that did it that year. So they've had some tight ends go over 500, Hawkinson and guys like that, but Sam Laporta. But they have
good tight ends, yes.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Noah Fant, pretty good.
Yeah.
They had some good tight ends in that span, but I don't think there's, other than maybe a service academy, there's probably not a program in the country that can boast that. And it's just been kind of, and immediately this performance just triggers the anxieties of Iowa fans. Here we go again, especially when you've, they obviously, Gronowski got a pretty penny in NIL to come to Iowa. All the quarterbacks do when they move. And so now you've got that, and it's just, boy, you had the Cade McNamara era, you had the Spencer Petras era that Spencer was hurt, Cade was always hurt. You had Deacon Hill in there for the good chunk of a season, and he's not even playing on what is it, Utah Valley or something? I think he's playing at Utah Tech. I think he's playing at now, and he's not even a quarterback there. So it's they've had some weird stuff, man, and it's like there's a jinx on the Iowa quarterback position right now.
Yeah, if they weren't a winning program, like even for just 2 years, back-to-back years, and this wasn't a legendary coach, whoever was the coach would be gone.
Yeah.
We're not taking this. You got there's no reputation there. We can't watch this. And
Yeah.
yet it's Kirk Ferentz. They're still winning.
Yep.
And at some point, the fans are going to be like, and maybe they've already reached that level because there've been a lot of winning at Iowa. I don't even care about winning anymore. I just can't watch this. I mean, I'd rather lose and score 35 points on offense than watch this anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah, there's some of that for sure regarding Iowa football. There's some real definite fan frustration because it's like they keep seeing the same horror movie over and over again with the offense just struggling. I mean, last year they got carried by Caleb Johnson, had just a historic season, and this year they rushed for 310 yards against Albany, but I don't think they're going to do that this week against Iowa State. I just don't see that. So then you think that they're going to they've got some talent at wide receiver.
They do.
I think
Okay.
it's a much deeper group than it was last year, the year before.
Okay.
And you're looking at that. Sam Phillips comes in from Chattanooga. He had a play Saturday. He was wide open in the end zone, and I thought initially that the ball may have been tipped by one of the Albany defensive ends, but it wasn't. And Gronowski threw it 5 yards short of it, and he was wide open in the end zone.
Oh yes, I saw that one. Yes.
It was in the first quarter. Yeah.
Yes, I saw that one.
It's
Yeah.
just incredible.
Yeah. It was like, what happened?
Yeah,
We were looking
like,
to find out if he slipped it. Like it was one of those things.
did the ball slip out of your hand?
Yeah.
No, he just short armed it. Jacob Gill, KJ Parker, Seth Anderson is son of Flipper Anderson. He's healthy for the first time. Caden Weegan. They've got some guys that can do some things. And they've got a couple of good tight ends too, with Addison Ostrenga and Zach Gortworth. Hayden Large gets some minutes too, and they've got some guys that are capable, but now it's just finding a way to get them the ball.
What's up with have they changed at all as far as scheme? I know they have a new coach, so what's going on there?
The biggest adjustment this year that I find interesting is that so I was talking to Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator. He's a former Western Michigan head coach and really, really bright offensive mind. And he's basically running the Green Bay Packers offense. He did a year after he got let go at Western Michigan with he and Matt LaFleur are really good friends. And so he was like their offensive analyst position there for a year. So basically he would help prepare the defense every week by watching what the San Francisco 49ers were doing or on offense or the Bears or the Lions or whoever. So he was picking up a lot of stuff just from the Green Bay Packers and from Matt LaFleur, but also other NFL teams. So essentially he'll joke with us that we're running the Green Bay Packers offense now. And that's a pretty good offense.
Yeah, sure.
And but last year he was kind of flying on his own. So every week he was they play Saturday and then Sunday, he's making the entire new game plan. He was going week to week and everything. Now they've got a couple of senior analysts. One of them is Warren Ruggiero, who was the offensive coordinator at Wake Forest and really, bright football guy. He made famous with the slow mesh that they used to do at Wake. And so he's an analyst on staff. So he and another guy are putting together the game plans. So, Tim told me, he was like, yeah, basically they got the first 3 weeks in the can like a month before the season started based on film from what they saw last year. So I think it's going to help them just in terms of their prep and everything. They feel like they're getting ahead of the game a little bit. And but they're going to run the Green Bay offense. And they like the run game that LaFleur runs up at Green Bay, and they've used a lot of that stuff with counters and they had a toss sweep this past weekend. So they're doing a lot of different things.
Okay. So you believe then that there really shouldn't be any excuses this season to see the offense be better, not dramatically better, but just and look, it's 1 week, it's Albany, whatever. Maybe there was some stage fright. You never know. Learning, it's all new.
Yep.
We get it. But now they've got to face Iowa State, and this has been a real battle the last 4 years. Both teams are split, and it's been a really, really tough series that seems to, especially lately, go down to like the fourth quarter almost every year. And what do you think about Iowa's chances based on what you've seen from both teams so far?
Here's a fun stat for you. Iowa hasn't lost in Ames at Iowa State since 2011.
Oh, that's pretty long.
Yeah, that's a long streak. But Iowa's lost the last 2 to Iowa State in Iowa City. So
interesting.
It's interesting.
So the road team.
The road team has kind of held serve, and it's one of the things I'm going to look up this week is how many turnovers Iowa has created in those wins, those last few wins, and I have a sense it's going to be well into double figures. They seem to always just create turnovers when they play in Ames. So I'm going to be interested to see, kind of what those numbers are. But that to me, that's one of the keys to the game is Iowa's going to have. They didn't create any turnovers against Albany and had just 2 sacks. So
that's surprising.
Yeah, I thought both those things were pretty surprising. So because they've, the defense is very different than last year because they essentially lost 7 starters. From last year's team. There's no Jay Higgins, who's a consensus All-American. Nick Jackson's practice squad with the Bucks. Y.A. Black is with the Steelers. Down the list. Deontay Craig, Sebastian Castro, Jamari Harris, on and on. Quinn Schulte, all like veteran guys. So now they've got a lot of new guys. You moved Xavier Wampa to the free safety from Strong. Cohen Intringer, who they really, really like, is going to be a strong safety. The linebackers, Jaden Harrell and Carson Shire, 5th-year seniors, so they're veteran guys. They've seen a lot, but they haven't been on this stage. So this is going to be a huge year for them. I think Shire's got a chance to be a pro if he stays healthy. His biggest issue has been health. He's just always been hurt, and this is the first time he's really, really healthy, and I think he's really good. I think Aaron Graves could potentially be a pro player. Max Llewellyn is, I know most of the draft lists have him as I think like a top 15 defensive end. He really came on last year, Max did, as a rush end. He's got a really quick, violent spin move that he used. He got to the quarterback on Saturday using that spin move. And he's the guy that helped them win the game against Nebraska late last year. He used that move and kind of rushed Raiola and jarred it loose and recovered the fumble. And then Iowa kicked a game-winning field goal off of that play. So he's different. He's probably their best rush guy. Herkett's just really solid. Big questions at corner though. With Deshaun Lee and TJ Hall. They've had some good and bad moments. and the guy that's pushing them the most is Jalen Watson. He's sort of their third guy. Zach Lutmer is a guy that's playing the cash. So Sebastian Castro played that last year. The concern this weekend is that cash position's probably going to get matched up on some of those giant tight ends that Iowa State has. And those guys are, it's funny, Iowa State kind of runs like an Iowa offense of about 5 years ago, because their quarterback just throws the tight ends a lot. And and both those guys, their two main tight ends are like 6'6", 6'7". So there's going to be a huge size disadvantage for Iowa. And Beck will just throw it up, and those guys will go get it and make plays.
Yeah, it's especially after they lost their two big stud receivers to the Houston Texans.
Yeah. Yes, they're both Higgins and Noel are both in Houston now.
So they're all of a sudden, I know, again, it's only been a couple of games, but yeah, like it is unusual to see them have three of their top receivers or tight ends. And their leading receiver right now is just a sophomore. But what about the running game for both teams, especially? I know Iowa State hasn't for the last couple of years. I think that's been the missing thing from Iowa State. I think maybe we saw that in the big moments last year. But I think that's kind of what may hold them back again this year, is that when they were really on a roll there for a while, it's because they had great running backs.
Yeah, and they had like the Brees Halls of the world, guys like that were running.
And Montgomery,
and David Montgomery before that.
Yep.
But the Ayu Sama kid is really talented, but he hasn't really played as well. The Hanson kid's been the guy for them, I think, more than anybody else, and he runs hard. I don't know if he's a breakaway guy, but he had the big almost touchdown against K-State over in Ireland at the end that kind of finished off the game on a fourth down play this year. Iowa has a surprise guy jump in there. Kamari Moulton, who's was listed as a starter. He's going to be out this week. He's got a shoulder issue.
Okay.
He left the game in the first half this past week.
Is he the number one back?
He would be if he was healthy, but he's probably going to miss a couple weeks.
Okay.
I think maybe like Rutgers would be the earliest we'd see him back. And then so Terrell Washington Jr. is going to get the start. But the guy to watch is Xavier Williams, redshirt freshman. And he's really come on. He's kind of been the guy that doesn't get a lot of the pub because he's just sort of like a grinder back, but he rushed for 122 on this past Saturday and had a 43-yard run, had a 14 and a 17. I mean, he piled up some really good yards, and he's quietly been the guy in camp that's really turned some heads. So he's getting this opportunity now to really make an impact on the game. And then they got J.S. Patterson, who's another kind of north-south guy, one cut, and he's going to go. That's the same thing with Williams. Washington Jr. will make you miss a little bit more. Moulton, kind of the same thing. And they've got a freshman that they've tried to get in there that was kind of the buzz at camp, Nathan McMillan, who's a true freshman, joined them in January. And he's got some wiggle to his game. He wears number 25, and he reminds a lot of people of a guy who wore 25 a few years back, Akram Wadley. Just he can kind of zip around and make some things happen. But he was pretty quiet in the opener, so we'll see if maybe they give him another opportunity. But yeah, I really like what I've seen from Williams too. He's hard to bring down. He's one of those guys that's kind of one cut, but he's got big thighs, so he's just really hard to bring down, wrap up, because his legs are just like tree trunks. So runs hard.
Yeah, looking at this roster, especially today in college football, and I've been through a lot of previews and seen a lot of depth charts. This is it looks like Iowa has a real dearth of transfers. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Clemson maybe is the one that I could probably equate the limited number of transfers, considering three of them are quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And even freshmen that I see now, some of that is just because trying to get to know which players are capable of actually being recognized as freshmen. But why do you think that is? Is it just because it's Iowa? Is it offensively? Is it just because of the reputation? Why do you think it's been so hard? Or is this by design that Iowa hasn't been able to bring in more transfers?
Yeah, I think it's that they like to keep their own guys and they develop their own guys. And I think that's where their heart is at. And then they kind of just fill in spots. It's interesting with you brought the quarterback position because Jackson Stratton is like probably their fourth string guy. And he's the only quarterback that returns from last year's roster. All the rest of the guys are new. Gronowski was at South Dakota State.
Yeah.
Hank Brown was at Auburn. Jeremy Heklinski was at Wake Forest, and he was slated to be their starting quarterback probably this year if they were still there. Jimmy Sullivan is a true freshman. Stratton's back for a second year, and then one of their walk-ons is Ryan Fitzgerald, who's the son of Pat Fitzgerald, the former Northwestern head coach.
Okay.
And it is, by the way, it's wild to look up in the stands and see Pat Fitzgerald wearing an Iowa shirt.
That's for sure.
It's really wild.
Do you think because of the lack of transfers and with all the players on defense that they lost and the fact that the offense hasn't been really adding a whole lot of talent, even though they're getting better, as you said, at the skill positions, could this be one of those years, those transition years almost, where they just don't have enough guys to it's asking too much for the new guys. There's too many and there's just not enough. See what I'm saying is, do you think that's possible?
It is. I wouldn't rule anything out. They don't have, there's not a playmaker.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the right word. There's no Cooper DeJean. There's no Desmond King. There's no kind of alpha playmaker. Jack Campbell. There's not a guy like that on this roster. There's no Max Llewellyn is going to play in the NFL, but I don't know that he's AJ Epinesa. It's just they don't have that guy that's going to be a really high draft pick. That's kind of one of those impact type players, and that's where you want. I think everybody thought Xavier Wampa was going to be that guy, 5-star coming out of high school, Southeast Polk, and he just has not become that guy yet. And he's a senior, so I don't know that he's going to get there. We'll see. But there's a ton of talent with him. Cohen Intriger might be that guy. We'll see. He's a really talented young guy. And like I said, Carson Shire, I think, has the ability, but it's what's he going to do in 1 year? Well, we're going to find out.
Okay, so what do you think overall? You've seen a lot of these Iowa State games. What are your thoughts on the game in general? What do you think? Just another typical 13-10, which probably is what I would want, considering what we saw last week with the offense. But what do you think? What kind of game do you think we're going to see on Saturday?
I think it's going to, this summer when I was trying to kind of figure this game out, I thought, well, boy, I think they're just both going to score a lot of points, and we're going to play. It's going to. I don't know if it's going to be 44-41 like it was in 2017, but maybe we get a lot of points and maybe we get a lot of excitement. But I just the closer this game gets, the more I think it's going to be, 12-10.
Yeah,
with field goals galore. But the thing that concerns me from an Iowa perspective is I think Rocco Becht is probably the best player on the field on the offensive side for either team. And he's really playing at a great high level. He just is. He's, I know it was South Dakota, and I know South Dakota kind of got gutted in the portal in the spring. But 19 to 20 for 278, 3 TDs is pretty impressive. What he did against K-State in the second half of that game in Ireland was really impressive. And I just don't know that he's going to make the mistakes that Iowa needs him to make to get a win. But I don't count anything out. We were talking about this the other day. I've seen Iowa State teams lose to UNI, Northern Iowa, and then come in and beat Iowa in Iowa City, the next week. I saw an Iowa team in 2009 have to block 2 field goals against Northern Iowa in the final seconds to hold on to win against the Panthers. Then the next week, they went to Ames to play against Iowa State, an Iowa State team that I think beat North Dakota State pretty comfortably the week before, and Iowa beat Iowa State 35-3 and intercepted, I think, 5 passes. So
you never know.
You never know with this
Yeah.
series. You never know in a rivalry game, because all it takes is a couple of plays to go for one team, and all of a sudden you're like, yep, okay,
all
this
the
game's
momentum.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it is a low scoring game. And we still don't know about Gronowski. There's a long season ahead. So it's quite
And
possible.
I've been told, Kirk Ferentz and Tim Lester, the OC, talked to him, and they're pretty pleased by how he's responded. He's relaxed, and I think maybe going on the road is maybe less pressure for him than playing at home, and he can kind of, I was watching him pregame. They were showing him on the video board, and they showed a tight close-up of him. And I said to one of the guys sitting next to me, I said, somebody needs to make that guy laugh. He was just looked like he was tighter than a drum. You just got to make that guy laugh. Just make him relaxed. It was like the old Joe Montana Super Bowl tale against the Bengals when he
John Candy.
When he said he wanted to get his team to relax, he looked in, hey, is that John Candy? And everybody kind of relaxed, and they went on that game-winning drive with,
that's it.
Was it John Taylor catching the touchdown pass, I think?
That's it. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what you need. And maybe this week we'll do it. And like you said, it is true. You go on the road, and I think it is the distractions of being home, all that kind of stuff goes away. The dog going into the game. And I don't think there's any expectations for the offense, that's for sure. So he can just get better and keep improving, and that's the name of the game. And they're so well coached, and there's on both, especially even on defense. And so that's the thing that really does win a lot of games for this program. You've seen it for years. I know Matt Campbell's a hell of a coach as well, and that's why I kind of agree with you in that respect, because you got 2 really good coaches, but their quarterback has done it a little bit more, especially at this level, than Iowa's quarterback. But that doesn't mean anything. It's a rivalry game, and anything can happen. But we can see why Iowa State's the favorite. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, they should be the favorite. They were the favorite in the summer. It was 2.5. I think it got up to 3.5 a little bit yesterday for a bit, and Sharps started betting it down again. So it seems like there's a price point where the market, the gambling market is, that says if it gets to 3.5, the Sharps are going to come in and buy Iowa. But if it's 2.5, it seems like the public was buying the Cyclones.
Before I let you go, Tom, I can't let you go without at least ending one question on the offensive line. Is Logan Jones, is he considered the top lineman on the team?
It's him or Dunker, Jennings Dunker.
Okay.
The right tackle. Dunker's probably the best prospect, and boy, he marches to the beat of his own drum. He's a different cat, but boy, he's massive, big, strong, physical. They didn't move him. He's more comfortable at. He's got the red mullet, so he's easy to identify. He's a different cat, man. He's interesting, but they kept him at right tackle because he's just more comfortable there, because they lost their left tackle, Mason Richmond, who's with the Seahawks now. And so they're breaking in Jack Dotzler and Trevor Lauk is actually the starter now at left tackle.
He
So
is.
he
Okay.
started, yeah, he started the game, and Dosler will play a little bit. So, yeah, but Logan Jones is he's kind of the quintessential program guy. He's not Tyler Linderbaum,
No. Yeah.
but he's a step below Tyler Linderbaum. Logan Jones will play in the NFL, I think, but
I think so.
but he's just not like Linderbaum was just, he's one of the best centers in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
So just different guy, different guy. But yeah, Dunker's got potential to be a good NFL player, I think, as well.
Excellent. Tom, I appreciate it. It's always fun watching Iowa State play. You never know what you're going to get in that rivalry, and we'll see. We'll see if Iowa can get this offense going. It could be a long year if they don't, but if they do, then they could definitely look like your typical Iowa team that can give some of those big teams trouble, depending on the schedule this season. So maybe we'll talk later on in the year if things go really well. And we've got links in the description to check out the Hawkeye Report, either social media or as far as just going directly to the website. So, Tom, thanks for doing this, and I look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Greg, thanks for having me on again. I always enjoy it.
I do too. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.